All right, guys. Well, awesome to see all your smiling faces.
Hang on, I've lost something.
Oh, hang on a second. Yeah, there's a few days. Cool. Yeah. Hey, guys. Happy Monday. Awesome to see all your smiling faces. Yeah, so tonight we're going to run through, we just had Eyes Uni in Perth, and it was epic. It was a really, really good event. Had some really good speakers. Alan and Larry came over. They were probably a highlight for me. And also Jen Jeffries flew over. And we're going to get a few of the crew to run through a bit of a summary of the main points and the main takeaways so everybody can get the juicy bits from the event. But the coolest thing for me from the event was Alan and Larry they couldn't believe how untouched Perth was. Like, they were getting out and about and talking to people, and they said, our team's growing in Brisbane, and compared to over there, nobody even knows about isogenics here. And it was kind of refreshing, because a lot of people think Perth saturated and all of that, and that was just a really objective view of it, because you can kind of get in a bit of a headspace that you think everybody knows about it because you're in a certain network or whatever. But that was really, yeah, I thought really, really powerful. So we're going to run through, basically the Eyes Uni structure was going through the 6 skills. So we're going to run through in order, and a few of the guys are just going to run through a bit of a summary. So we're going to get Al up first, and she's going to run through a bit of a summary around skill 1 and skill 2. So finding people to talk to and talking to people to find, and then just share a few nuggets that she got from the event that will help you guys out.
Cool. Hi, guys. So cool that there's so many people on the call. I just firstly want to reiterate with Tal, one of the biggest takeaways that I got from the event was, not just that Perth's obviously untouched, but that how few people there were at that event. And, if you weren't there, again, just look seriously at, why you weren't there, and perhaps just think about, if you're really taking this seriously as a business, you need to get to the events. There's just really no excuse. And it's just purely because, one, obviously all the learnings and everything are just so amazing. And every time you go, you get a new heaps of new aha moments, they call them those. But the other reason why is because it's such an injection, a re-injection of motivation and inspiration for you. And if you don't have that, you just find yourself slowly slipping back, and that's a natural thing that happens. So that's why they have these events throughout the year, so that you're having that constant infusion of inspiration. And the other thing is, there were like less than 200 people there, I think, and that is so exciting from a business perspective, because it means that the people who were there are taking their business seriously, but there weren't that many of them. So it's huge, guys. Like, I don't think, like, that is so big. So that was one of my biggest and most exciting takeaways. And, the team that we've got is so amazingly strong and supportive. Like, there's no way that if you put your, love and effort and time into that, whatever that time may be, you will move forward and you will succeed in this. So we're all behind you in that. So that's first, just starting with that. So I asked Tal if I could speak on the first 2, or the first skill particularly because I found that the most challenging of all of the skills. I've particularly found it more hard in the more recent times. I just thought, shivers, I've got my network, I feel like I've exhausted my warm market. I'm like, I just don't know, where am I going to find more people to talk to? So this was a really good one. Anna Richards spoke on it, and as we all know, she's amazing at how she speaks. But a few things that I really took away from when she spoke, but also a few things in between which I thought were really, that clicked with me while I was there. So I'll just go through those. So basically, number one is, getting out and about. Like, people are everywhere, and if you're out and about, they literally are everywhere. They're on the street, in every shop you go to, every single conversation that you have, It's not necessarily a prospecting conversation, but if you're open and you're willing to like go beyond the small talk, if you're in perhaps a little bit of a longer line in the register at the in the supermarket, or or on public transport, like people are there. And if you're like, one of the biggest things I think we find in this day and age is actually just being present. Like, so much you're finding people, if you've got a spare moment out and about, and because we're on this business and because it's so necessary for us to be on our phones a lot of the time, you're on your phone. And I don't know, and I'm speaking from my point of view because I know I catch myself doing this, but when you look around, it's true. Like, if you get a few spare moments, instead of actually being present and having a look at what's out in the world, we go straight to our phone and go, quick, who can we call or who can we kind of contact? And I think that's one of the biggest things, is just being aware and present as who is around you in the direct, in your direct environment. So, and Anna was saying, like, she realizes that she's obviously doing this full time, but she's finding herself that a lot of the time she's at home working on her business, and she finds that she's halfway through the week and she has not left the house. So that's a big one too. It's like, yeah, you can do this business online, and I'm going through that in a second, because that's what I really struggled with, is the online bit and how to get through social media. But, people realistically, a phone, like a text message or a Facebook message, is nowhere near as powerful as a phone conversation or a face-to-face conversation. So, yes, obviously these people are building their businesses through the online part, but what you really need to do, and this is something that I really feel is huge, is that the quicker that you can get someone onto a phone call or onto a face-to-face conversation, the better. And wasting too much time and thinking you're doing something by texting them, like, there's no emotion in a text or a written or something, or an email. It's just and it's people read between the lines, and they're picking it up differently than you're putting it down, and you think, yeah, what a wicked text message, or that was an epic email. But really, like, they might have perceived it completely differently. And so, I mean, look, it's a skill in itself to actually get it from the written to the chatting. But as quickly as you can do that, try and do that, because you've got to get to their why, and you're not going to get it through written or through typing or written. So the other thing which really, really resonated with me, and this is my biggest takeaway from the event, and again, it's why I really want to share this skill, the first skill, was because I was really, really struggling with, like, I knew that obviously with Otis, a lot of my time is at home, and I've got to be cool with that. And so I'm thinking, okay, I really want to try and get better at posting and better at being on social media, and just be better and finding things to post about. And I was really struggling with what to post about. But Anna, what a bloody, like, rose she is. Like, she just said, look, all you need to do, write down, everyone can do it now who wasn't at the event, do this now, write down the 10 things that you love. And you can do 20 if you want. But sit down and write 10 things that you froth on in life. And basically, all you need to do is post something about them, something about what you love doing in your daily life. It doesn't even have to, like, she talks about the 10-4-1. I think it's the 10 posts that's just got absolutely nothing to do with after at all. It's just something about, in those 10 posts around the things that you love. So, like today, I just, actually no, tomorrow I'm going to post it, because I feel like I've been posting heaps lately, which is so weird for me. But anyway, I was thinking, fuck, like, I love toothpaste flavours, right? I just love and Rusty thinks I'm a freak, because I've got, like, yeah, like, he hides the different flavours from me, because he's like, you only need one open. I'm like, but hang on, I want to taste licorice tonight. And, like, that's just what I love doing, like, different flavours at night when I go to bed cleaning my teeth. And so, I'm going to post about that tomorrow, because it's weird, but who cares? I love that shit. And
So
I know that's so, like, I'm such a weirdo, but that is who I am. And Anna, if you read Anna's post, she sometimes posts random shit, but that's what people really want to hear. They don't want to hear this contrived stuff, and they don't always want to hear about, like, you are more than just nutritional cleansing. And honestly, if you can try and broaden the scope of what you're writing about, that is what people want to hear. And they want to hear the down days as well. They want to hear maybe when the shit's hitting the fan, it's totally cool. The shit hits the fan for everyone. So that was the biggest takeaway from Anna. It's like that 10 posts about nothing else except for you. They want authentic you. Then 4 posts, I've forgotten what she said. 4 posts was something to do with, like, a little bit.
Yeah, subtly linked. Yeah, so that might be a before and after, or like just catching up with the team, or like she reckons she only makes like one of those 4 max a before and after. Like, get creative with that, just touching on your lifestyle and those sorts of things, but just really subtly.
Yeah, so so kind of related to isogenics, but definitely no isogenics in there. There's nothing, that blatantly isogenics. And then there can be one, and she calls it a power post, which can, you can mention something about the business and maybe something that can be related to isogenics, but not necessarily dropping, lots of the times definitely not dropping their word. It's just that, you're the business, I suppose, mentioning the business side. 1 in 10 for 1, so 1 in 15 posts she does that. And that was huge for me, because as I said, I was struggling, and I know a lot of people struggle as to how to go online. And if you're not out and about and you are online, that was a huge for me. So
yeah, epic.
I hope people got something from that little summary.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the 10 things you love, like, because when I was posting, there was only sort of like 3 categories that I was sort of trying to fit things into. But then when you just make an effort to broaden it, you can start posting about random shit like toothpaste flavors and whatever kind of sick fetishes you've got going on. Because that's what people, and it's basically entertain people. Social media, people go on social media to be entertained. So the weirder and quirkier and more awesome you can be like that, the better.
Well, and I suppose from my point of view, I was thinking, I really want to attract young mums into my business, and I was thinking, I've got to post just about my family. But it's not true, You're more than just that. And sorry, I've just got a little crying little boy in the background. But yeah, if that gives you any clarity around that, I hope that works. So, Tully, you also wanted me to talk about the talking to people we find. Is that?
Yeah, you said you were keen to do skill 1 and 2, so.
Yeah, so finding people to talk to and talking to people we find. So I covered that a little bit in that first bit, but really, as I said, getting them as quickly as you can onto a phone, like to chatting to them, is huge. And I suppose on that, like for people who are new, encouraging the 3-way call is, or encouraging a third party to enter the conversation is, like, we all know that 3-way calls build your business. And I know, for one, myself, I've definitely haven't been, up to this point, haven't done enough of them. The few that I have done, or the ones that I have done, I've probably done more in the last month than I have in my whole entire business up till then. So, that's big. And those 3-way calls that I've had in the last month were solid gold. So I think that in creating that third party connection and that support very early on is really important. Talking to people you find. Sorry, Tal. I did think you were anything. What else? No,
that's right. If they're the nuggets you've got, that's all good.
Yeah, look, well,
because you kind of touched on that anyway before. And I think like a lot of what Mary and Jacob went through was like building relationships, like going back to the same old stuff. Like, I think it was the combination of like branding yourself well on social media that Anna went through, takes the pressure off talking to the people you find, because you don't actually need to bring up isogenics in the conversation. You just concentrate on making new friends, getting them on social media, and you let your social media profile do a lot of the talking and then go from there. So just finding common ground, building connection, adding them to Facebook.
Yeah.
And then going from there. And that's what I mainly got out of it.
Yeah, sure. And sorry, there is a couple of other things now. You just mentioned it. So one of the huge things that I know new people do, and I still find myself doing it absolutely, is that verbal vomit. And like, you know, we know, oh yeah, don't verbal vomit someone, but it's so profound. Like the listening aspect is so profound. Like there's absolutely no point in talking to someone about weight loss if that's definitely not their goal. And I definitely I found myself doing it, and I haven't actually listened to why the hell they're interested in the first place. And, you know, one, it can be, and the listening part of it comes well before isagenix even enters the conversation. Like when you're talking about talking to people, you're literally finding out about them, about all aspects and areas of their life. And isagenix may not even come up in the first, second, third, fourth conversation. But if you are building a relationship with them on that deeper level, and that trust and respect is coming in, there is no doubt that a conversation down the track, and it doesn't matter when that comes, because it will come, something up around health will come up, something around finances will come up. And it's only then that you don't have to go, well, I've got the thing for you. All you need to do is just say, look, you know, there's something might help you. I'm doing something that may help you. Would you be open to have a look at it? And then you proceed to do that tool, talk with a tool. You don't do that, blah, 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 but just like be cruisy about it. Be really relaxed about it. And if you're not confident in talking about it, all you need to say is, I'm doing something that may help you. I've only just started, but if I got a friend of mine who's been doing it for longer than me on a phone call, would you be interested in hearing more about it? And then boom, you're handballing it to someone who has more confidence in those areas, because really, like, a lot of us have been doing this for almost 3 years, and that confidence has only just come. It takes a while. So don't pressure yourself into having to know it all.
Yeah,
so that's
awesome.
I'm done, I think. Is that cool?
Did you just mute yourself?
I'm verbal vomiting right now, aren't I? So I'm going to stop.
Yeah, cool. Just send us a tool, Al.
Yeah.
No, that was awesome. That was good. I'm sure everybody got a lot out of that. I know I actually took some extra notes down, and I was at the event. And the only thing I'll touch on to add to exactly what you said was something that Alan touched on, that he's been actually training his team on. It's been working really well. Is people are like, when you're in at that reconnection level, and you might be catching up with somebody for a coffee, and they're like, well, should isagenix come up in the first conversation? And he's almost given it a blanket no. Even if something does pop up, it's like, use the reconnection to just really get to the nitty gritty of their why, just really reconnect, get deep. And it's actually more powerful if you don't say anything then, but then either the next day or 2 days later, reconnect with either a message or whatever, depending on what your relationship's like. It might be on the phone if you're really close to them, but with a message and saying, hey, I've been thinking about that conversation we had. Like, I haven't been able to get you out of my mind the last couple of days. And then you allude to why, like talking about whatever it was. They might be hating their job. They might be struggling with their health. I think I've got something that might be able to help you. Would you be open to taking a look at something? And then it's as simple as that. So you've gone deep with them, like into the emotional aspect, and given them a couple of days to let it sit. So they would be thinking about it as well. And it also takes the pressure off, especially for the new people, when you're thinking about, how do I bring it up, or when do I insert it, or whatever. It's like, that is just gone, because you're not allowed to bring it up. Like, but it's just like, then you can actually just be a real normal human person having a conversation with somebody, and you've got time to then go away and come back and say, hey, I've been thinking about that conversation we had. So that was something that I thought was gold as well. Awesome. So we're going to move along. Thanks, Al. Little round of applause, silent applause for Al. Thanks for sharing. Thumbs up. Go. Yeah, good. Lovely. Silent applause. Little feed the chicken. So good. Okay, cool. So now we're going to hear from our most recent Crystal exec on skill 3, supporting your people. So this is what Alan spoke to us about, and this section was just littered with gold nuggets. So Mandy,
no pressure, Tal.
No pressure at all. I knew you'd like that.
Cheers.
Just take us away. What did you get out of that section?
All right. Well, I'm really feel really strongly about this one because I feel as though I do put a lot of effort into supporting my people. So hopefully I can actually reiterate a bit of what Alan had to say on the weekend. He was amazing, and he had a great presentation on that. So if I do miss anything, please jump on in and obviously rehash over it. But the first thing that he sort of opened up and addressed us with was asking us who our team was. Who is your team? And to me, that was, I think we all knew what the answer to that was anyway, and obviously it's everyone. But it just hits home of, we're in this company and whether financially linked, whether you're a Crystal executive, a platinum or a associate, it doesn't matter where you sit in this business. You are supported, you have so much accessible to you with the trainings and everything else like that, and you could reach out to any single one of those people that were there leading us over that weekend and feel completely at ease and comfortable knowing that you could, you'd get the answers or you'd get some help and support if you needed that. So that was massive. And so anyone who is new on the call or just starting out in the business, just know that, you don't have to just go to your upline. You don't have to just go to the people that you're around in your team. You've got so much support around you with everyone. So that was all really good. Same thing, I guess there was a lot of rehashing over similar stuff that we have heard before, but I think that's the beauty of it, because you can take away different things from it every single time. So even though it might sound like the same content, there's always something new that is going to, really, give you that light bulb moment again. So Alan obviously touched on initially just, the three categories, your product users, your product sharers and your business builders. And I guess what I took away this time from it, I'll just quickly just go over, I guess, the product user. And as most of us would know, that's pretty much, 83 to 85% of people who use Isogenics. So you may come into the business and sort of think, I've got that person in mind of who I think is just going to tear this thing apart, and that I've got to get them to be my business builder and this, that, and everything else. And you lose sight of the fact that this company is made up of majority of product users, that everyone realistically, majority realistically is there because they wanted a health result or something to improve in their health. So even though you might think that someone is going to, like I say, blow it out of the water or just be that amazing business builder, just go back to the basics and lead with the product. The product is amazing, and to show that there's 83% of people using the product without getting any financial reward for it just speaks for itself. So that was massive. So, and obviously he then morphed into, with those product users, the relationship that you build with people. And I guess when you're treating people like a transaction, so that you're enrolling them and then you're not supporting them throughout that, especially that first 30 days, which is crucial to their, I guess, retention, staying in your business and their experience throughout, their initial experience. Sorry, Dean's just distracted me. He came into the room. Leave again.
Has he got his shirt off?
Something like that, yeah. But yeah, so just obviously it's a relationship-based business. So supporting your people throughout that first 30 days is crucial. And instead of, I guess this was a big thing for me, instead of actually, I guess, that month being about all Isogenics communication, Alan really pointed out that, instead of just touching base on their first cleanse day and day 11 of when to do a weigh-in and, coming up to the 26th day of, when you're going to touch base with them about their auto ship and what they're going to order the next month. He was like, no, put so much effort into that whole month of really getting to know every single thing about that person, to the extent of what you can, learn about their hobbies, what they love, if they've got children, all of that sort of thing, so that they're not feeling like a transaction, I guess is where I was alluding to, so that you're actually, you're being a good human and actually just, learning more about that person, so that they're gonna trust you to continue on their journey as it goes on. Mm-hmm. So
that was gold.
And then obviously he touched on about getting to that day 26, and instead of it being about, we're having that discussion about auto ship, you've built that relationship throughout that month of when now, when it comes to that time when they're ready to reorder, you would have already spoken to them about their goals and everything in the beginning of the process, but you're checking in with them again to really, really work with them on what they want to achieve in that second month, third month, and so on and so forth, instead of it being that whole, okay, well, your auto ship's due, what are you going to order, and making it sound like a salesy thing. It's, it's just about, obviously checking in with them to really feel that genuine, authentic connection of you wanting to help. So that was pretty big. And then the thing that I guess I also picked up on, just when he was sort of talking about, so you've obviously got your product user, and then obviously this other 17% is your product sharers and your business builders. And just understanding that there's a really fine line of when they are a product sharer transitioning into a product builder, a business builder, because I feel as though I probably made that little bit of a mistake with a few people in the beginning, of where, you're so excited because they're willing to share it, that I almost made this assumption that they were just going to run with the business. And so you're sort of like feeding them this information, that information, all of that, and they're just sort of like, oh, whoa, hang on a minute. No, I've already got a business and I've got family and I haven't got time to do this. All they were interested in doing really was just that organic sharing, which, if I really think back to my journey, it was pretty much the first 8 months, even though I paid for my products once. The first 8 months, I was just organically sharing. I wasn't building a business, and it was after attending an event of when I actually went, okay, that's what this is about. So, really fine line of understanding that difference of not pushing people too quickly, and really, don't plug them into every Facebook page you're on. Don't overwhelm them with information. Just, I guess that comes down to, again, communication and really talking about where they're sort of at with it, and whether it transitions into someone being a business builder, awesome. If it doesn't, then you've got to be happy with someone who's also sharing it. That's amazing. So, I guess what else do I sort of have down? He sort of touched on just allocating time for intentional follow-ups. Memory, there was 5 breakdowns of category that he sort of put those in, and that was, I think it was new prospects, product users, product sharers, business builders, and people who have gone inactive in your business. So this was a good one for me. I sort of, he was sort of saying how Larry and himself obviously allocate a time frame. So whether it's 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock on a Monday morning, of where they're going to follow up with, for example, their product sharers, and touching base with them to see, is anyone inspired to come along to an event? Let them know about new products, just keeping them in the loop all the time, but being intentional with that time, with that category of people. So that was good. And I guess transitioning on from that then was about reaching down into your team of inactives. So, no matter what, whether you're brand new or whether you've been in the business 3 years, I'm sure we've got those boxes in our business of where they're showing up as inactive and people aren't ordering anymore. So he was just sort of saying, okay, so reach back in, print out a list of your whole organisation and go back through them and see who's inactive and touch base with them. You know, you never know if they haven't been using the products for 6 months, but they just didn't know how to get started again, or they just lost you out of their thought, whatever it was, you know, by you actually touching base with them again and just naturally asking whether they're, you know, acting dumb, I guess, because some of them probably don't even know that you can see that they aren't, you know, in the downline to say that they aren't using the product. But, you know, just touching base and sort of asking, you know, you're still using the products, where are you at with your health right now? You know, I sort of thought it would be a good way, you know, branching off what Anna had said in terms of her Ask a Body Challenge social media stuff, you know, like it'd be a good opportunity to sort of go branch those in together and sort of go, look, I'm doing I don't know where you are right now, whether you want to get back into it, but I'm just about to do another 16-week challenge with a head crew, you know, would you be keen, you know, and getting them back into that sort of train of thought. You never know if they're ready to do another 30-day cleanse or whatever it is. So that was really a big point that I sort of got from him was, you know, don't just assume because they've gone inactive that's it, they're out of your business anymore. It just might have been circumstantial at the time or whatever, that they just didn't know how to reach out again. Who knows? So don't rule anyone out. I guess those were probably my biggest ones. Don't know if I've sort of missed anything that was crucial, but I could...
nailed it. No, that was good. That was really good. And I agree about the inactive being a really, really good point. And the only other thing I'll touch on as well is like he also shared that he's created 7 execs and 6 of those aren't crystal execs. Most of the execs he's created didn't actually share in their first 3 months at all. So like Mandy's saying, going into the detail and supporting these product users, loving them if they decide to share a little bit. And just like Mandy's story, first 8 months, organically shared, got to an event, and then things changed. That's exactly how Alan created 6 of his 7 execs. They all just came in for the products, barely shared it all in the first few months, but he just supported, built that relationship, did all the stuff that Mandy just told you, and got them to an event, and then now they're all execs in his business. So, I think that was really powerful because he gave a lot of, like, I guess, skills and things to do. And he's like, this is what doing that has done for me, which is create 7 execs, which I thought was cool because I often sometimes when you hear like from the big leaders and the big earners, they tell you what they're doing and you're like, I know you're doing some other stuff as well. Like you're not giving us all the gold. But hearing those numbers on how slow his execs were actually moving at the beginning really did validate the power of supporting like your product users to be product sharers and that natural transition with the event being a catalyst. So that was all really, really powerful. Thanks, Mandy. Okay, so now we're going to move on to another lady who was at the event, which is we'll talk about getting people to events. So I'd like, Gab, can you unmute yourself? And we've got a baby on board. Or do you want me to get Kimmy going? Are you good to go?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Awesome.
Didn't you?
Pardon?
But I was number 5.
Oh, were you?
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, I mixed them up.
No, can you come here, please? Can you come here, little baby? Sorry, okay.
How cool is it that like half of the screen
have
babies?
Yeah. Thanks. Okay. Hello, everyone. So my topic is bringing people to events. And for anyone that's listened to Eric Warre's GoPro, if you haven't, you should. He says this is the #1 skill in network marketing. So I feel very responsible for this section, and if anyone else wants to chime in, please do. So I've written down the most important person to bring to the event is yourself. And this isn't just for your own belief, which of course like everyone has said, it gets injects belief into yourself and gets you going again. You plug in. That goes without saying. But you need to be the person that you want to attract, and you want your team to go to the events. So you want to show up to as many events as you can, and when you're there, you want to play 100%, even if no one's watching. It's just one of those universe things, that energy. I really believe in that, and just commit. Travel, go to, there's obviously a lot of different events, corporate and non-corporate, and you want to get to as many different ones and experience them as you can. No, darling, go away, please. Mother of the year. And how will you be able to bring other people to events or get other people to go to events if you don't go yourself? And if you haven't experienced them yourself, how can you possibly explain the value to your team? And and keep going repeatedly to the events. And I know myself now, I've been to quite a few 3 times, and you do hear a lot of the same, and your brain's telling you, I probably don't need to go. But again, every time you find a couple of days after that event, wow, I have got an injection in my, just in my own belief, even if you have no one there, and you do learn something every time. But if you have your team there, again, it builds your belief even greater and, injects more action in yourself. And yeah, it's just so imperative. And, you see what I've seen over the last 2 years, the people that are successful, the people that are making the money, they are playing 100% at the events. They're in the front row, they're engaged, they're, they've got their hand up, and they're consistent with that. And, like Larry explained, she just really didn't kind of feel like going to, another David Wood event, maybe her 4th one. And she understood the power of going or not going and how that would affect her business. I actually spoke to Alan Richardson, who's very successful, and he deliberately flew over to Perth for ISA Uni simply because he had people in his team that wouldn't drive from Port Macquarie or something to events, and he wanted to show them that there's no excuse. He'll fly to an event. That was his sole purpose for coming over, and I thought that was really interesting, having a chat to him. And it was the same reason for me for flying to Celebration when Charlie was not even 3 months old. It wasn't convenient, but it's just so important to do, just to show mums there's no excuse. Do it for your children, for example. Then the most important part they got across is that amateur network marketers, they tell people about the events or tag people, even worse, repeatedly. And I've known that it's a slack thing to do. And it just doesn't get results. So probably the next level is inviting people to events, which is better than just tagging or telling people about the event. But what the pros do, and what Eric Warray is talking about, is intentionally promote events as like your most important thing that you're doing, and promoting the value of that event, that particular event for that individual, tailoring your message. So again, if you don't understand the event and the value that would be in it for that person, you've got really not much chance of getting them there. And also using, really understanding your team member, for example, using those personality types like the colours. There's an awesome Susan Sly call that I'll put up to the top of Bfree. I'll bump it, where she talks about inviting people to events or even launch parties based on their motivators, just understanding them. And what I kind of was thinking about as I was preparing for this is that really it's the same as when you're connecting with a prospect. You've got to get to their why, to really understand them. And you need to get deep. You need to follow up and plant seeds. have the power chat, follow up, and help them overcome their barriers or their objections to going. It's really like just getting someone on board in the first place. And be strategic about it. So have a calendar, and thinking about your product sharers or your people that are keen to be business builders and which event would be best for them. So get to know which events, what's different about a David Wood event to a celebration to a New Year kickoff to an in-home, and obviously funnel them into the right event for them. And there is I won't talk about that now, but there is a, what do you call it? The gradient of events that we could pop up in the page as well. So yeah, just be strategic about it and organise it, and be aware of when the events are on, in what state or country, and use that to your advantage. And when you're there at the event, you have the opportunity to get cheaper discounted tickets, even win a ticket like Alice did. I was manifesting like a boss to get those free tickets, and she was standing next to me and got them. So I think it was close.
You brought it in.
And the pros invest in tickets. It's like an investment in their business, and they will pass that through down there in their downline. And that is something that's duplicable. Like I know I had a ticket purchased for me, and now I purchase tickets. I always get extra tickets in advance. And that's also an intentional thing, putting that out there, that you're expecting someone that's going to come along with you next time. And the best thing about events is it's duplicatable. You're leveraging your time, so your team's getting the training from the experts. They're going there, seeing third-party validation from people that have done it, and you're not trying to teach them yourself. You're just leveraging your time and that event. And Anna had a really useful tip about that she uses events to build momentum, like at the event. So in the breaks, while people are pumped, while people are fresh, gets them taking action. You want your team to be taking action 48 hours after the event. As we know, you lose, your memory or your motivation, and 48 hours after an event is going to wane. Yeah. And my last point is have gratitude that corporate put on these events. Respect the event. Feeling like, I have to go, or I feel obligated. Feel like you want to go, and that you're valuing that event, because they don't have to put it on. They're not making money out of these events. It is for your success.
That's the best point ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Gab. That was epic. And that's such a good point. And just appreciate how good our events are. Like I went out with some of the corporate girls on Sunday, like for dinner last night after the event. And they've all worked in other network marketing companies, and they showed me some videos of some events that some other companies put on, and it's just outrageous. It's so cringeworthy and just poor quality training, and what we get access to is phenomenal for the price that we get it. Like Mandy said, they're not making any money on it. Gab said. That was an epic point. Awesome. Thanks, Gab. And the only thing I'll touch on now with events is SKO tickets. I think there's only about 200 left. So that's in Melbourne. So I'm sure most people here have already got a ticket. I'm seeing some heads nodding. But I'd be, if you can, squirreling a couple of extras, because it's at the end of October, so there's still plenty of time to enroll some legends into your business. But just know that that's happening. And then just touching on the tagging thing, just reiterating what Gab said. And Larry said it's not that she never tags somebody in a post with an event or something, but she never just tags them. Because if she's had a conversation with somebody about an event or a call or something, she'll tag them and say, this is that call I was talking to you about. Or, you know how we're talking about that event? This is the link for it. Because new people coming in, if they just see tags, that's what's going to start to duplicate, and they will understand that conversations are actually being had. So sometimes it is really useful to tag people, but make sure you say, this is that call we're talking about, or this is the event, or whatever, because then that'll start to duplicate. Awesome. Cool. So now for the last one, we're going to get the e-shop queen, Kim Est.
Boom. I forgot
Came
to put that
home
on my
came
game.
home with a big old box of e-shots.
That was definitely my gain for the week. I forgot to say.
Yeah. Guys, you haven't slept since, have you?
No.
Plugged in. Cool. So Kimmy's just going to share about the skill of building belief.
Yeah, so this is probably the one that I didn't write many notes for, but I think this is pretty, it's, you know, I think the key to this really is events. The biggest way to build your belief in every single, you know, part. So, you know, the belief that you need is belief in the products, belief in the company, the compensation plan, network marketing, and probably the most importantly, yourself. So for me, you know, I've been in the business for about, just over 2 years, and my belief on everything, on product, company, compensation plan, and network marketing is a 10, and it has been for quite a while. But one thing that I always need to work on is myself. And hang on, that's Tully. You can look at everybody.
I love this business.
No, darling. I see. I'll come and give you a kiss in a minute. Yeah, so now I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, so Mara Amana was speaking, and she was just amazing. Like, she had so much energy up there. It is a skill that you have to learn by, you know, obviously getting to these events, having an amazing product experience. That's a key. You can't tell someone, you know, this is how you lose weight or this is how you're going to gain energy if you haven't actually felt it yourself. Like, it's never going to be, you know, it's never going to be congruent, and people will not feel your energy if that's not what you've already experienced yourself. Belief in the company, I think that comes also through attending events and just my mind that, you know, purpose.
Is anybody else struggling with Kim? Yeah.
Yeah, I just asked the same question in this house.
Kimmy, did the kid unplug? Did your little boy unplug the internet connection by any chance? All right, Kimmy, if you can maybe log out and log back in, or maybe try to get to a better internet connection, and I'll just charge on. Oh, Al? Unmute yourself, Al, if you want to say something.
Yeah, Tal. Sorry, just while Kimmy gets back on board. I think in that area, in the belief thing, the biggest thing that I got out of it was, like, you're obviously all here because you're wanting to build the business, and it's pretty likely that you're a 10, if not very close to a 10 on, you know, all the areas, the 4 areas. And I'd say that most of you, and you put your hands up just to you know, confirm this, but one of the biggest areas would be self. Would that be right? That is if not a 10, it's that. Can I just have a confirmation of hands if that's you? That self is the one that's getting in the way, because it's definitely. And what I'd say to that is not. I don't think it's, well, every single day it may not be a 10 out of 10. It's what Tully was talking about, and Tully, just by the way, did the most amazing. He was one of the most incredible presenters up on stage for the weekend. He absolutely nailed his part, and he can quickly go over what I think would be great, Tully, if you went over what you spoke about. But, you know, that trampoline self-belief, like every day you may wake up and have a shitty day, and like your belief in self may be going, you know, may start to slide a bit. And that's why the power of personal development and self-development is so do. Like if you're not there yet, if you've got like have dips and troughs in self-belief a lot, there is nothing better than what you can do is to get something in your ears. 30 minutes a day is all you need. Or when you're feeling like, things aren't going that great, take your mind off what you're thinking about that's making you think about a negative thought and switch it. So just take your mind off it and take it to something else that makes you feel good, or go for a walk in nature or something, because staying in that negative frame of mind isn't going to help at all. And it's not that you have to start thinking positively about the thing you're thinking negatively about. It's just about shifting your focus to something else that makes you feel better. And then when you're back into that positive state, then go back to, tackling, or maybe don't even go back to that if that makes you feel like shit. Move on. Because look, all of us have that self-doubt. Even, all of the guys on the stage were talking about that. They were talking about the fact that, Anna, the hill singers, all of them, they have those self-doubt days, and that's totally normal. So that's the I found about the belief bit.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess a few of the things that I shared that I think people got a lot of value from, and it's a good point that you're saying, even the hill singers, because I had them come up to say, and speak to me afterwards and say that, it really landed with them as well. And what I was touching on was, I just asked people basically, who, and I guess ask yourselves this: is there anybody here that's either hit an income level and then dropped back from that income level, so they're not earning as much as maybe that they're recognised as, or maybe as they once have? Has anybody done that? A few people, yeah. And what about, is there anybody that's just not as far along as they think they should be at this point in time? Show of hands. Yeah, a few hands up. Cool. And what about, and the same goes for product experience. And I asked, has anybody lost weight and then put a bit of weight back on? And the whole point was, any of those things are going to result in you being a little bit embarrassed about your story. And when I asked people to put their hands up who feels that way, 96% of the room put their hand up, that they're a little bit embarrassed about one or more parts of their story. And the 4% that didn't put their hands up are going to have people in their team that feel that way. So, and the thing is, if you're embarrassed about our business is built on sharing our story. And so if you're embarrassed about your story, then you're operating from a space of shame or fear of being found out, which are really low vibrational places to work from. And you're not going to attract epic things into your business if you're operating at that space. But more importantly, you're not going to enjoy the journey. And that's another important point, is that we get caught up in setting these goals, and it's when I hit this rank, I'll be happy, or I'll feel good, or whatever. And we put all this pressure on the destination, and it's a